April 30th, 2026. 16,000 Americans opened an email and lost part of their retirement. The email used careful language. Temporary pause. Investment in the future. Here is what none of those words told them: the compound cost of that morning. TTEC, a $2 billion technology company, suspended its 401k employer match for all U.S. employees that day. The reason given: redirect resources toward artificial intelligence. You will hear the word temporary. It is the load-bearing word in their announcement. The math of temporary is the only thing that matters in this story. Yours paid for theirs. Here is how your match works. You contribute 6% of your salary. Your employer adds 3% to your account. It's $60,000 a year. That is $800 deposited by someone else. Not a loan, not a bonus. A decision they can reverse. $1,800 a year. It does not sound like a decision that changes your retirement. That is exactly how they counted on you perceiving it. Vanguard's How America Saves report found that more than half of all 401k participants could not state their match rate accurately. They knew they had one. They did not know what it was worth in dollars. Invisible dollars are undefended dollars. You cannot protect a number you have never calculated. Know your match in dollars, not as a percentage. $1,800 a year sounds manageable. You will manage it. Hold that number. The figure that actually matters is the one after 20 years of compounding, and it is not the one on your pay stub. $1,800 a year at 7% compounded over 20 years. At full S&P 500 historical rates, $103,000. TTEC did not pause your 1-800, they paused your 74,000. Compounding does not wait for their performance review. Every month your match is absent, your curve starts lower. The total is not what you lost this year, it is what you lost at the end. TTEC did not invent this move. The decision you make at the end changes based on the history behind it. Every time capital becomes expensive, the 401k match is the first discretionary benefit to disappear. Your benefits package has a hierarchy you were never shown. 2008. Revenue collapsed across the S&P 500. Employers suspended matches in waves. Workers lost 14 months of contributions on average before restorations began. 14 months. Some never. 2020. More than 400 companies froze matches as COVID lockdowns hit revenue. Most restored them within 12 months as government stimulus arrived and markets recovered faster than most predicted. In 2008, companies froze your match because they were losing money. In 2020, because no one knew what was coming. In 2026, TTEC froze yours to buy AI infrastructure while reporting positive cash flow. That is a different sentence entirely. TTEC is not alone. Deloitte and Zoom both reduced employee benefits in 2026. Different announcements. Identical logic. When your employer calculates what to cut, your retirement is near the top of the list because cutting it requires no negotiation with you. Dallas. Software engineer, 34 years old, contributing 10% of her salary. She found out her match was gone from a Slack message, not from HR. She sat with a spreadsheet that evening and asked a single question. What did this actually cost me? Her number was $127,000. Missing match compounded at historical returns to age 65. She did not panic. She opened a Roth individual retirement account the next morning. Most people who hear their matches paused quietly drop their own contribution rate. That reaction compounds the damage. Their pause removes the match. Your reaction removes your own dollars. That decision was the only thing she controlled. Her employer's announcement was not in her hands. Her response to it was, "That is where your money lives." TTEC's statement was precise in a specific way. They said, "If our business performance supports it, we intend to resume contributions." Business performance is defined by the same team that redirected your match. Who is watching your retirement timeline while they watch their AI returns? You are not in that room. If their AI spending does not pay off quickly, you wait. They decide when your match comes back. Alicia Monell at the Center for Retirement Research at Boston College has tracked employer match patterns for 2 decades. Her research shows companies restoring suspended matches take 12 to 18 months on average. 1 in 5 never fully restore the original terms. This account was never designed to be your primary retirement vehicle. It supplemented a pension. When it became the only vehicle, your exposure to decisions like this one multiplied. 1 in 5. Gone. You cannot negotiate your employer's match. So what do you actually control when they make this decision without asking you? More than you think. Here is where your real decisions live, and all of them compound. First question most people ask, should you lower your own contribution now that the match is gone? The answer is almost always no. Here is the mechanical reason. Every dollar you contribute still grows tax-deferred. At a 22% marginal rate, you save 22 cents on each dollar you put in this year. The match was an addition. Its absence does not change what your own dollars do. Second, the $1,800 they are no longer depositing. If you can redirect that amount into a Roth individual retirement account, you keep the compounding running. One account they no longer control. One you own regardless of what your employer decides next quarter. Third consideration, your vesting schedule. Some plans require 3 to 5 years before deposited match dollars are legally yours. If you leave before vesting, the match disappears a second time. Over 20 years, the difference between maintaining your full contribution strategy versus reducing it because the match disappeared is larger than the match itself. Your reaction compounds too. If you are between 25 and 40, you have enough compounding runway to absorb this gap. Adjust your strategy. Keep contributing at your current rate. If you are between 41 and 55, the math shifts. You have fewer compounding years to absorb the gap. The same dollar amount does more damage at 48 than it does at 32. Your timeline is shorter. Teresa Ghilarducci at the New School for Social Research has documented what she calls the retirement savings cliff. A 10% reduction in contributions between age 48 and 55 can reduce a final account balance by 18 to 23%. We do not fully understand why the damage is so disproportionate in that window. The pattern is consistent. If you are over 50, the IRS allows catch-up contributions of $8,000 annually above the standard limit. Your employer stopped adding. You can partially self-fund the gap. It is not equivalent, it is what you have. 1 year of full catch-up at $8,000, left for 15 years, compounds to roughly $21,000 at 7%. Not nothing. A decision worth making this month. No law required it. Ted Benna designed the first 401k plan in 1980 using a loophole in the Revenue Act of 1978. His intention was supplemental savings alongside a pension. The employer match was added later as a recruitment incentive. It was always a handshake, not a contract. Benna later reflected on what the 401k became. He said, "I never anticipated it would become the primary retirement savings vehicle for most Americans. That was not the design. What we have now is the design being tested at its edges. What changed in 2026 is not the legal structure of the agreement. What changed is the competition for that capital became visible. Your retirement now competes with GPU clusters for the same corporate budget line. At least now you know who is in the race. Yours paid for theirs." The email used careful language. The compound cost of that choice was not in it. For the foreseeable future, yours has to pay for yours too. That is not a complaint. That is the new condition. 3 things you can do before this week ends. None of them require your employer to change anything. 1. Open your plan documents and find the exact language on your employer match. Learn whether it can be suspended without notice. You should know this before your employer decides it for you. The match restoration clause is in those documents. 2. Calculate your number. Take your annual match, compound it at 7% over your remaining working years. That is your real exposure. The final number. Write it down. If the number you calculated is larger than you expected, that is the point. You were not meant to see it clearly. Now you do. That changes the next decision. The match will or will not come back. Your own contribution compounds either way. 16,000 people got a reminder this spring. The only retirement account you fully control is the one you fund yourself. Has your employer paused your match? Calculate the compound cost today.